It's been so long since you smiled. Tell me where you left an empty child. Oh, let's have a feast on those who least expected this. The time is now, I swear we won't regret it. Won't regret it. Yeah, we sleep here under stars in the shelter of the dawn.
Welcome everyone to the Daytona International Speedway, the Daytona 2008 International Speedway as well, more specifically the Legacy Edition. It is the very incredibly abrasive track surface here for this race. It is race number 5 of the Sim All Racing Group Superspeedway Series, and well, it is the CSM 200 at Daytona 2008 here for this afternoon. And boy, oh boy, do we have a race ahead of us. Qualifying 40 seconds away from ending as we take a look at your point standings here coming into this race. It's Benjamin Nelson up top on the pole position in points. As we look down, well, we see everyone sorting themselves out. Robert Rader actually going at +7 instead of -7 into position number 7 in the point standings, as well as your cutoff positions as well coming into this race. Lucas Schreier, Nick Olson, Colby Wells, Sean Howell, Ted Regic, and Brett Murphy all within striking distance of each other throughout this race. So keep an eye on the 41, the 24, the 45, the 38, the 91, and the 11. Starting grid coming up on the lower left-hand side of your screen as it is just now wrapped up. Your qualifying results are as follows. Brandon Hoff with your first place position qualifying on the pole. Second place is going to be Nick Olson on his outside, and then we go to Lucas Cram in position number 3. Fourth place will be Dustin Schwingle. Fifth place is being rounded out by the 38 of Sean Howell. Alex Fox in the 27 will start position number 6. Clint Spillman in the 88 starts position number 7. And Benjamin Nelson in the 33 will round out the top 8 positions, with Brett Murphy starting in position number 9 in the number 11 machine, and Robbie Lyons rounding out your top 10 in that number 97. Luke Parks in the 3 will start off in position 11. 12th place is going to be rounded out by the 43 of Kyle Dager, who I believe is in his second race this season. I'll double check that momentarily. Alan Ballacino did not set a qualifying time. He'll start lucky position, or lucky or unlucky position number 13. Kyle Manger starts off 14th, with Mitchell Muma rounding out the top 5. Colby Wells starts 16th. 17th place is Robert Rader. 18th place is going to be Dan Cruz. 19th is the 26 of Sean Stevens, and the top 20 being rounded out by the 48 of Quinn Gingrich. The field here, the rest of the field being rounded out by Joey Picuella in 21st. 22nd, it's going to be Raymond Lees, and that is it for your starting grid. Something that was a little bit of note throughout the, or within the practice session, if we can get the appropriate car to get focused on here, the onboard of Clint Spillman here. If we look at the back bumper, well, not from this angle actually, rather the onboard of the number 38 of Sean Howell, you can just barely see the back bumper of the 44, the rear wing, where it says might blow engine, or rear spoiler I should say. And that's going to be a key thing possibly coming out throughout this race if Lucas Cram is that incredibly confident that he will blow his engine, that he might blow it again this week just with that sticker alone, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully that will not be the case for that 44 machine this afternoon. So we should be getting ready to get going here throughout for this event. In the meantime, we'll be seeing if we can get statistics on Kyle Dager, who has run at least 2 other races in this series. Is staying 27th in the point standings, unfortunately, but 3rd race of the season for Kyle Manger. In the meantime, we are currently awaiting everyone else to grid up. It looks like that might be it. 45, unfortunately, Colby Wells missing. Quite literally missing his number. There he is in number 9. Brendan Hoff actually has a new paint scheme this week by the looks of it. Nick Olson in the 24 starting on the outside. And focus in on Lucas Cram, and we'll see if we can actually get a zoom in here on the back, on the rear spoiler of the 44. And you can barely see it right there. Might blow engine. There it is. Doesn't hurt to put a little bit of a warning just in case, I guess, in some cases. Brendan Hoff will be leading the field to the green flag this time by teammates starting on the inside lane. And of course, it is almost technically 4th of July weekend, so be safe. Please use common sense, etc., etc., etc. The things that we've all been hearing throughout the news. But most importantly, have common sense and don't scare the dogs, especially with fireworks. In the meantime, though, we'll be most likely having some fireworks of our own on the racetrack, quite physically. Well, hopefully that won't be the case. We'll have to wait and see what this track has to offer. Field making their way through turns 3 and 4 for the first time this afternoon, with the starter already having the green flag in hand, ready to let the field loose here at Daytona International Speedway. And there's the green flag being thrown. We are green flag racing here at Daytona. Lucas Krem already with a great jump to the outside lane incredibly early on. Can't blow the engine if you're out front with clean air. And he's definitely got that in mind. It's a side-by-side battle continuously now between everybody, really. I was going to say your top 5, but again, it's pretty much everybody whoever else is involved here in this first group. And already Clint Spillman backing his way up through the field, saying, look, as much as I want to be a part of this, I'd rather play it safe here and not be side-by-side on a track that is incredibly bumpy. From this angle, you can kind of see the cars actually bouncing around in the process as they make their way through the corners. We'll see if we can actually get a gyro cam on board here, and possibly not, considering how shaky it already is from the engine, from the car alone. Lucas Krem tempted to move to the inside by the looks of that, but decided against it. Come down the back straightaway, it is still relatively, exactly even between everyone here. And of course, right when I say that, someone who gets the advantage, Brandon Hoff on the entry to turn number 3 is Sean Howland and the 11 of Brett Murphy. They are dangerously close to that apron down in the corners. A little bit too close for comfort, as one would say. Lucas Krem right now continues to lead the field around Daytona. Well, part way at least, because Brandon Hoff on the inside lane wants to lead the field as well. Anyone else behind? Not exactly having any of that. They're trying to get themselves up to the front. And this onboard shot is great from the back bumper. You can just see how bumpy the track surface is, the suspension and the wheels bouncing between everyone. The fact that Sean Howell had a little bit of a bobble off that corner, a little bit too much of a bobble. He manages to hang on to it, luckily. Lucas Krem has not moved down to the inside after getting the advantage, at least for now, ahead of Brandon Hoff. He'll try and move down to the inside by the looks of it, but he refuses to do so. Now he does, now that Nick Olsen has forced his hand. Nick Olsen saying, well, either you are or you aren't. Either way, I'm going up to the outside. Clouds have immediately covered the track. And just how it was one lap ago, well, now it is something completely different. It currently continues to make their way around Schwingle, a little bit too high up the racetrack, but does manage to fall right back in line in the comfort zone. Lucas Kram with the advantage at the start-finish line by about car length. Olsen continues to fall back on the outside, unfortunately, as everyone still remains single file. And a little bit of a update on information for this race. The field, rather the league, has decided to limit the fuel just a little bit more. Previously, it was 14 gallons or 75% fuel capacity. Now it is 12 gallons, 64% fuel capacity. So that means that, well, it should be relatively better in terms of fuel management coming to the end of the race. That means these drivers can run just a little bit less. The last time we were, well, relatively here at Daytona, not this track specifically, it was about 25 to 32 laps being the pit window. This week, well, I mean, with that capacity, it's probably going to be looking to about 15 to 20 laps. We'll see. It all depends on who pits first and who pits last. See the field at the line. Stage ends at the halfway point of this race, lap number 40. Those stage points, of course, do count to the final total when the playoffs do arrive. And to believe it or not, that's almost in just about 5 races' time. We close out the regular season in 5 races. In fact, I might need to double check on that regardless. And that is a correction. It's actually 3 races being the season end, as Nick Olsen leads across the start-finish line, the regular season end. And then July 30th, the playoffs begin. 6 races actually, well, 4 races. And then another 2 being the All-Star race on August 27th. Continue to near the halfway point, but we also continue to close in on the stage end. We're seeing some great races coming to the end of the stage and the process, but I believe last week at Daytona, when they came to the stage end at the start-finish line, they're actually wrecking across the start-finish line. That wreck had triggered the stage end pretty much right at the perfect time. Speaking of perfect timing, Brandon Hoff back out front, in capacity, at least on the outside lane, being pushed heavily by Nick Olsen. And we see from here that Hoff could have moved to the inside, but decided against it, as Olsen continues to lay onto the back bumper, at least when he can. Hoff now has the inside clear. He could move to the inside. Does he want to bring Olsen with him? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Hoff stays up on the top side. Riding on board now, Dustin Schwingle in the number 7 machine. Oh, huge bubble from Nick Olsen, and you heard Schwingle just barely let up. But everyone does hang on to it. Oh, Sean Howell nearly got into the 24. That was a little bit of a close moment there for sure through turns 3 and 4 because, well, Howell got too much of the apron and almost slid up right into the 24. And speaking of the 24, well, he goes to the inside lane after pushing Hoff out front. Olsen saying, well, if you're not going to go to the inside, then I will do that. And you can have fun up on the top side. In fact, Olsen's going to be trying to control both lanes. We haven't seen this, actually. I pointed this out. You must have watched the broadcast last time. We haven't seen anyone try to control both lanes throughout this season. 5 races in, and we see that for the first time. But I think Olsen may have just wanted the preferred top side, as it's a huge accordion effect started off by the number 7 sliding up the track ever so slightly. He did hang on to it, but unfortunately, that stacked up the outside. Olsen may have tried to move to the inside, just off the left-hand side of the screen. But he does decide against it. He's got Hoff all over his back bumper. So now we may be closing into the questioning part of when exactly does the car decide to give up on fuel. Will it be lap 25? Will it be lap 20? Will it be this lap? Will it be the next lap? We've yet to find out. Well, I guess we may have found out. No, we did not actually. Sean Howell had a huge bobble. He actually did save it off the corner. Unfortunately, that was not caught, but we'll see if we can get a quick replay of that from Sean Howell's perspective. Running on board the 38 of Sean Howell. A little bit loose. Hangs on to it. So back to live pictures now. Brendan Hoff has regained control of the lead with Lucas Cram, who decides to go back to the inside lane after following the 9 up the racetrack. It's been the same top 4, just slightly shuffling around lap after lap. Now as they go down the back straightaway, it is still going to be the 9 of Hoff leading, the 24 of Olsen pushing. As Olsen decides to make a dive, well, now he can't do so, unfortunately, because of the 44 being there on the inside. Nearly sliding up into the 24 is Cram. They hold it together. Down goes Olsen to the inside lane. Now he'll go for the lead. Keeping him on, this is only lap number 17 now of 18. Or 80, rather. Expecting Lucas Cram to come up to the top side. No, it is Olsen. Olsen very confident in controlling both lanes. The 24 is the only driver who has seen attempts to at least control both lanes. The thing is, though, if you want to do that, move up to the outside, well, You have to hope that you do have enough fuel to make it around or at least back to the inside lane in time. As Olsen has a quick connection spasm. A connection issue. Fades out of existence for a quick second, comes right back in across the start-finish line, so Olsen luckily still in this plane of existence. Seeing a certain somebody lurking in the background in the mid-pack of the field. That is the 33 of Benjamin Nelson up there on the top side, right behind the number 27 UPS. There's Benjamin Nelson in that 33. Still the red and white digital ally paint scheme. Diving down to the inside is Dustin Schwingle. He'll try his own challenge for the lead this time by. He'll move up to the outside lane. Olsen moves out to protect. Back to the inside goes Schwingle. Great switchback from the number 7 machine of Schwingle. As a certain someone would say, that is a textbook switchback out of turn number 2. Keeping in mind, we've only had 3 different winners this season. Lucas Cram being the driver who won the first 2 races, Benjamin Nelson won 1 race, and then Michael Elliott from out of nowhere, new to the series, had won last week at Talladega. Unfortunately, Elliott not here this week. But can we have a 4th different driver to win this race? Hoff absolutely shoving the 24 of Olsen down the back straightaway. And this is going to be the part of the race where we wonder, is this when the drivers pit? Will the lead lap or will the pit window be 5 laps shorter, or how much shorter will it be as Schwingle slides up to the outside, almost in the 24. Luckily, they do not make contact. We've seen a lot of close moments there off turn number 4 when it involves sliding up the track. With 60 laps to go, no one has made a move to pit road. Looking off the back bumper of Nick Olsen as we see the inside lane very quickly charge their way forward by about a car length now. Advantage to that number 7 machine off turn 4. And I say that, it goes right back to the 24. Continuously side by side as they cross the start finish line. The outside lane seems to be the very preferred lane as Olsen is incredibly confident in that outside lane. Now just watch and listen to the sights and sounds. Hoff moves down to the inside lane. May be looking to go to pit road. Decides not to this lap at the very least. Cram moves up to the outside of the number 24. Hoff to the back bumper of the 7 of Schwingle. Almost contact between the 9 and the 44. It may have actually been a little bit of contact by the looks of that, but from that camera angle, it definitely looked like there was. From the fact that they're still going and the 44 didn't get moved up the track, that's pretty self-explanatory. There's the little decal on the rear spoiler. Might blow engine from the 44. Well, he's out front, so just like at the beginning of the race, you can't blow your engine if you're out front controlling the field. I'm pretty sure Olsen was really tempted to try and peek out to the or move down to the inside lane, or at least the middle lane, make it 3 wide for the lead. But the fact that Kram had moved it down as well and continues to try and squeeze Dustin Schwingle, that's not going to be happening anytime soon. Alex Fox in the 27. In the meantime, has been sitting here throughout this entire portion of this race. Everyone else, basically from the top 5 on back, has been watching this play out in front of them. And look at how close Schwingle and Kram are down the back straightaway, nearly banging doors. Well, that wasn't close. I don't know what is. And that gives the advantage to Schwingle as he moves up the track, back down to the inside lane. Someone going down into pit road. We'll get that person in a second. That is the 11 of Brett Murphy, all on his lonesome into pit road. He could not make it 25 laps. Brett Murphy, the first to pit. Lap 24 coming to lap 25 as it's side-by-side contact. Kram gets moved up the track from a little bit of a door from Dustin Schwingle. Again, the track is very abrasive and bumpy, so sometimes that may not always be on purpose. Also consider the fact that the tires are being worn down, as Brett Murphy is now in his pit stall. Alright, down and out. In fact, 0.8 seconds on pit road for Brett Murphy. Not entirely sure why or what happened. Here come more drivers to pit road. This time it's going to be a couple other drivers. Robert Rader, who is way too fast on pit entry by the looks of that. We'll have to wait and see if Rader was too fast entering. Kyle Manger as well in pit road, same with Dane Cruz. And you see everyone immediately moving down to the inside lane. Joey Pecuela is stuck up on the outside lane. He does have another, I'll give it just over a mile to get down to the inside lane. And by the looks of this, we're going to be having everybody come down pit road this time by. This is going to be a very, very, very scary situation here in terms of who is going to be where. Alan Ballacchino moving up to the outside lane, may not be going to pit road. And here comes everyone, well, at least half the portions of the field to pit road. Everyone's scrambling for whatever position possible. The 88 was sideways on pit entry, and Brandon Hoff is first on pit road. So the first half of the field relatively on pit road. 8 drivers now have yet to pit, being Alex Fox, Benjamin Nelson, Alan Ballacchino, Luke Parks, Kyle Dager, Robbie Lyons, Joey Pecuela, and Mitchell Muma. Those are top 8 that have yet to go to pit road. And Brett Murphy has not went back to pit road. He's only had that 0.8 seconds of that 0.8 second pit stop, rather. So not entirely sure if that was by plan or not. Brett Murphy, regardless, in pit road for a very short amount of time. Here comes the rest of your top 8 into pit road. Looking off the back of Alex Fox. Look at that. 3 wide on pit entry. Luke Parks making a very daring move. We'll back out. Let Ballacchino through. In fact, the only driver to not pit yet is Quinn Gingrich, who is position number 9. And, well, this is where Lucas Kram is, the first driver out of your second group, or your first group, rather, that had pit. So Gingrich more than likely going to be falling back, unfortunately, to the back portions of the field once everyone gets cycled throughout. Actually, Mitchell Muma might be out of fuel by the sound of it. He is out of fuel, but he's leading as well. He scored as the leader. Muma out of fuel on lap number 28. As the 48 did make it to pit road, Muma, however, did not. He is below the starting line, or rather below the racing surface, I should say. And Muma is out of fuel. Currently running 60 miles an hour, which is your pit speed limit here at Daytona. Not sure if he'll be able to make it, but regardless, the caution is not coming out because he is below the apron. There's the leader of Ballacchino. Muma might not be able to make it back. He'll try at least. There goes Ballacchino. And Benjamin Nelson. We'll keep you updated on Mitchell Muma. In fact, we'll take another look this time by as he does enter pit road. He just might be able to make it. It all depends on where his pit box is. And, well, judging by, of course, his starting position of 15th, he is just on the lucky side, and he will be able to make it. He might be on the starter as well, trying to get that car just to get going a little bit longer. But Mitchell Muma does make it into his pit box. But the cost is, well, he's going one lap down, because this is where Balacino and Nelson are, first and second. They're coming just off of turn number 4. Muma's actually now down and away. Granted, Muma is in 16th, but it looks like he will be the first car one lap down, at least for the moment. Well, maybe not, actually. Muma's starting to gain speed. Yep, there's your leader coming through. And Muma is unfortunately put now one lap down officially. Next driver in line to get put one lap down, going by our live scoring, is currently the 48 of Gingrich, and he will quickly get lapped. And the thing is, with these green flag pit stops, look at the gap over on your left-hand side of the screen at the timing tower. First and second have a almost 4.5 second gap between themselves and third place. And here is the rest of your top 10. All the way back to, well, not exactly the rest of your top 10. It's rather your top 9. And then there's Nick Olson. 10 laps until the stage ends at halfway. And if possible, we'll get an interview with your stage winner. What a incredible race this has been so far. As Balacino and Nelson continue to lead, they're actually gaining as well. They're increasing the gap between themselves and the rest of your the rest of your field. Let's take a look at the start-finish line. 4.5 seconds between Nelson and the leader, or rather between Cram and the leader. Keep an eye on that third place across the start-finish line in about 5 seconds. There it is, 4.8 seconds now. So Nelson and Balacino are running away with these top two positions, but how long will they be willing to run single file is the thing, because we're coming up to your stage end, lap number 40. The rest of your field as well coming up to your stage end, all the way down to Luke Parks and, well, Nick Olson, the driver last in the top 10, who is looking to get that final stage point, but so are Dane Cruz, Sean Stevens, and Joey Picuella. So we have a massive field spread on our hands. Lap number 33 at the line this time around. As well, this may not be a good idea, but we'll see. Hoff and Raider have now started to bump draft each other. Oh no, turning around is Brendan Hoff. It's going to be a not caution, actually. Great save, and because it was so far in front of this field, there they are, and there they go. Because it was so far in front, it was not at a risk for a caution. Brendan Hoff with not only a great save, but no caution. As a result of that, somehow, a very close moment, and somehow we continued to remain green. We've had so many close moments. And there it is. The 25 goes around. Kyle Manger on the inside. Luke Parks as well. Robbie Lyons around. As the caution flies, this is not the stage end. Caution is as Lyons is involved. He slides in the pit road. Kyle Manger manages to stay out. There it is. The first caution of the day. We were wondering in the back of our minds, unsure when it was going to happen, and it comes at lap number 34 this time here at Daytona. The longest green flag stretch, 34 laps at Daytona. Replay coming up on your screen as, well, we're going to be showing a couple things here, and we're going to be wondering who's going to be pitting, who's going to be staying out. But first thing is first, we're going to be riding on board the back bumper of the number 9, Brandon Hoff, the first of what we thought was going to be a caution entering turn 1. You hear Hoff lifting, and I'm pretty sure just by that, it's a little bit of a miscommunication, and it does happen. But look at that lug, and we're going to stick with this replay as well. We're going to be looking at it from the top-down angle, from the blimp, as we see the rest of the field flying through. I was about to say two things when those two moments happened, or before those two moments happened. With the 9 and the 2, I was about to say I'm not sure about this and if they're going to race the leaders. And with this, I was about to say I'm not sure if they want to race side by side because it will only create problems. And it did. Schwingle diving straight down in the 25. I don't know if he was trying to get behind Cram or what, but that was the case. Kyle Manger slides around. And then we switch over to the number 3 of Luke Parks and the 97 of Lyons, who both got caught up. Clint Spillman somehow makes his way through. So is the 27 of Fox. Maybe a little bit of damage to the back bumper of Sean Howell. But what a sequence that was. And only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers, maybe about 7 drivers have now entered pit road. Everyone else has stayed out because they know they can make it to the end. The stage end is in a few laps' time. We're going to be looking from the onboard of Clint Spillman in the 88, who was directly behind this as it happened. Unfortunately, he is currently 1 lap down, but regardless, avoiding some contact. Oh yeah, definitely some damage, unfortunately. Just misjudged that, didn't see it happening. Didn't expect it, and that's when the caution was thrown. So, some damage for Clint Spillman, unfortunately, but does happen. Spillman has not used his fast repair either, being a key thing to remember. So currently under caution, coming to the 1 to go signal, this time by most likely. With Irishing's now new quickie cautions. There's about 3 laps of cautions being the maximum. 2 laps if no one is a lap down, and everyone is on the lead lap. Coming to the start-finish line, pace car lights will shut off. And this leaves us with 5 laps to go currently, 4 laps to go until the stage end. Benjamin Nelson, or rather Alan Balaccino, opts for the inside lane. Benjamin Nelson will move up top two as a result. And this brings everybody back together. And now this is where it gets a little bit dicey. Regardless, this race has been incredible thus far, and hopefully you are enjoying this race as well at home because, well, this is going to be a very, very close stage finish for sure. Not only with the drivers in proximity of each other, just this entire stage finish as a whole. Pace car is getting ready to pull off the track, but not for the final time. If the caution comes out anytime between now and the stage end, or anytime between now and the completion of the stage, then the stage will go, I believe, back to the last scored at the start-finish line. Or rather, the moment of caution coming to the start-finish line. Pace car will pull off the track. Starter has the flag in hand. It is now being waved. 4 laps to go in this stage. Great start by Alan Balaccino, getting pushed by Lucas Cram in second place in that number 44 car on the inside. Does Cram opt to go to the outside lane? Does Balaccino opt to protect the outside lane? Alex Fox in line as well, quite literally. And the caution is out. The stage is over as it's a crash in the back, exiting turn number 2. Now we will double check and we'll wait across the start-finish line to tell you what the stage results will be. We will get a replay up momentarily. Until then, we're going to be holding off as the second caution is out of turn number 2. Alan Balaccino, your stage winner here at Daytona. He comes across and will take the proverbial green checker across the start-finish line. Your top 10 as of this stage, or at least for this stage, have now been updated. It is Alan Ballacchino, Lucas Cram, Alex Fox, Benjamin Nelson, Nick Olson, Sean Howell, Joey Picuella, Kyle Manger, Luke Parks, and Raymond Lees. Your top 10. Replay coming up here momentarily out of turn number 2 being the cause. And we'll wait and see. Not entirely sure, as it looked to be more of a half spin, and it looks like we actually found the main cause of the crash here. So it was coming through turns 1 and 2 here on this restart. Keep an eye on the 48 of Quinn Gingrich up on the outside lane in that red and white lows. Someone moves down to the inside, Brett Murphy, and unfortunately net code, and then the 07 gets turned across. That wasn't the cause of the caution, but it was rather the 48 of Gingrich getting turned to midfield. Well, not exactly turned, but more net coded, unfortunately. One more look of turn number 2. Murphy moves down to the inside, and then it was just netcode. Hoff gets involved as well. Look at Colby Wells just barely avoiding that in the 45. One more replay. Unfortunately, Colby Wells actually 5 laps down. Not sure as to why. Let's see if we can take another look to see what happened with Wells, but regardless. Ooh, man, that is incredibly close, but great avoidance by Colby Wells. Let's confirm that is the end of the stage. Alan Ballacchino, your stage winner. We'll see if we can get a quick word in with the O2 machine, depending on if we can find said O2 machine. So Sean Stevens has opted to stay out. Same with Kyle Dager. All right, now see if we can get a word in with Alan Ballacchino in the O2. Alan Ballacchino, do you have us?
Hey, how you doing?
Well, congratulations on that stage win coming to the end. But with that initial green flag run, well, just tell us with that first half of the race and your thoughts.
It was pretty crazy in the middle of the pack there. A lot of checking up, but overall, it was a pretty good time. Just trying to keep the car clean is the biggest thing right now.
Well, luckily, you are managing to do so as we get the one to go signal. So before we go ahead and let you go, your thoughts heading into the second half.
I hope it goes as well as the first half, because that would be great. It'd be nice to win one of these.
Hopefully that will be the case. We're going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations on your stage win. We hope to talk to you later.
Thanks.
So that is Alan Ballacchino in the O2, who restarts now in the third place position. Kyle Dager and Sean Stevens have opted to stay out. They are 4 laps ahead of everybody else in the field. How will that play out heading into the second half of this race? When we go green, it will be 40 laps complete, 40 laps to go. Anticipation rising. Alan Ballacchino has been up here within the top 5 many times throughout the ending of many races. Now the question is, when will he be able to finish within the podium position? Actually, last week at Talladega, he didn't have too bad of a race, but he didn't have too great of a race. Double checking actually, as Ballacchino had finished top 10 last race at Daytona. Second place the last time we went to Daytona. So Alan Ballacchino has finished second at a Daytona-related track twice. Can he change that this race? We'll find out in the second half as the green flag flies for the second half of the CSM 200. Well, it's Balacino and Nelson both make their way up to the outside lane. What do you say we, I'll actually crank up the volume for you, but let's say we listen to these engines as they go around Daytona. Well, it's Kyle Dager with the lead that time by the start-finish line by .010 seconds. Now it's Alan Balacino out front in the lead with Benjamin Nelson. He and Nelson have been a great team thus far throughout this race, and so far it is definitely showing. Now the question is, how long do the 43 and 26 have before they have to go pit road? We've seen that as at least 25 to 28 laps, that, well, 25 to 27 laps more specifically, that we can see at least drivers physically make it back to pit road. Technically 28 if you count the, I believe, the 07 from running out earlier. It's still Alan Balacino leading here at Daytona, still with help from Benjamin Nelson. Kyle Dager up on the outside with the 43 machine, the 44 of Cram directly behind him as they go down the back straightaway. Nick Olson within striking distance for the lead with absolutely no help, just himself and the draft. He'll peek up to the outside. He'll try and side draft the 33 of Nelson. He'll try again, but it's just not going to work right now. But in fact, he'll actually get the advantage. Unfortunately, off turn 4 with no help down through the tri-oval. Olson is back up challenging here for the lead. With 50 laps to go, provided nothing happens, we'll take a side-by-side lap, or side-by-side break for about 3 laps. You won't miss a single thing with the race still being shown in the top left-hand side of your screen. This break will be coming up at lap 50. In the meantime, though, a little bit of a bobble, I think, almost from Sean Stevens. He hangs on to it. Gets into the apron. Still hangs on to it. Same with the 3. And Nick Olsen may be stuck 3 wide here momentarily. He will not. It was going to be looking like a 3 wide situation there for a moment through the tri-oval. Luckily, that didn't happen. There's so many things here at Daytona that can happen that you think would happen, and then suddenly it just, well, it doesn't happen, and then something else completely unexpected happens. Like, for example, Luke Parks moving up to the outside lane. But Balacino and Nelson, they have not budged from the inside lane at all. The only time that Nelson really is peeking out, and why he is peeking out, is to control the airflow into the engine. As contact is made between the 26 and the 24, they hang on to it. It was just behind the ticker. Both drivers had made their way up the track. Somehow nobody goes around, at least. And looks like off the racetrack, very off the racetrack, goes the 26 of Stevens. Not sure as to why. We'll be taking it behind the wall immediately on the infield. Contact again with the 24 of Olsen. Olsen just getting absolutely almost blindsided every single lap. Not exactly blindside, but just very lightly doored in the number 24. Olsen with a quick connection drop. Other than that, still manages to hang in solid. It's now Alan Balacino in the 0-2 leading, with Benjamin Nelson on the inside, directly behind the 0-2 in that number 33. Those two have not stopped, essentially tag teaming. They have not stopped bump drafting each other. They have not stopped teaming up, essentially, throughout this race so far. Luke Parks on the outside lane, trying to get his shot at the lead. Nick Olsen not exactly continues to get doored, but he continues to run up on the outside lane as well throughout this race. Coming up onto some lap traffic, that's the 11 of Brett Murphy. He goes as high as he comfortably can, and the field goes by without any troubles. Luke Parks into the lead momentarily physically. As we take a look top down, we see the advantage and the bobble from the 0-2. The 3 of Parks more than likely is going to try and get the lead that time by, but that just was not going to be the case. This time by is going to be your side-by-side break. You won't miss a single thing here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. This is the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series with the CSM 200 at Daytona. Back live here at Daytona International Speedway, Daytona 2008 to be more specific, with the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series presented to you by CSM, with this being the CSM 200 at Daytona 2008. Getting a replay ready for you right now. So we had a very, very close call just as we were about to come back live here. It's heading through turns 3 and 4. Trev Pickwell nearly got turned, made contact with the 27 of Alex Fox. And what was assumed to be a incoming wreck, luckily that was not entirely the case. We are now back to live pictures here at Daytona, as Luke Parks has taken control of the lead. Ballacino shuffled back to 5th. Lucas Cram, 2nd place on the outside lane, being pushed by Nick Olson in the 24. Robert Rader as well, from almost exactly out of nowhere, from more specifically 17th. Oh, never mind, that's not going to be the case. It's a huge crash off turn number 4. This is essentially the big one, and that is it. The caution is out off turn number 4, as about 6 cars were involved. Ballacino, your stage winner, was also involved. Lucas Cram, basically who was ever up on the top side behind Luke Parks. He's the only one that really survived this. Caution is out for the 3rd time, the 2nd caution that has been caused by an actual incident. And with this crash off turn 4 comes a lot of broken hearts, most likely. Fast repairs are available to drivers that do need them. And we'll see if we can get a appropriate angle here off turn 4 for you from up above. Break down the wreck in the process. Slow motion replay for you. Look at the 2 on the inside lane, gets a piece of the apron. Ballacino also moves up, may have also gotten the apron as well. Benjamin Nelson just barely stays off, but here comes Clint Spillman trying to come through, and then the 24 comes down. And then it's just on from there. I think really the only one that did make it through this, most notably, is the 9. The 17, the 33 may have definitely gotten damaged, may have actually just avoided that as well. Looks to be the 17 as well, so a few drivers did avoid it, but the drivers involved are Nick Olson, the 11 of Brett Murphy by the looks of that, the 2 of Robert Rader, the 02 of Alan Ballacino, and another driver as well, possibly. And Clint Spillman being one of those drivers involved, unfortunately. We're going to ride on board with the 33 of Benjamin Nelson to see what he saw on board off turn number 4. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. I don't know how many close moments you can have there throughout the wreck like that. But Benjamin Nelson somehow just managed 3 close moments throughout that entire wreck. Dustin Schwingle as well had made it through that. I look at his on board. Ooh, very, very close call. There's the 07. And one more look on board the 88 of Clint Spillman, who, well, most likely thought he was going to make it through. And then he didn't. The seas had just parted, and then they had closed immediately right back up. So that is your first caution, or third caution rather, of this race. And look at who's back out front throughout this entire thing, or after this, at least right now. It's Alan Ballacino. Didn't take his fast repair yet. He does go pit road this time by. Benjamin Nelson is now going to be cycled into the lead, as I believe your caution will be ending momentarily. Wait and see. By the looks of that, it is. The caution has went to now 1 to green. Spillman cannot get back going. Everyone has been completely trapped behind the pace car. Nick Olsen involved in that crash as well. After going to pit road, he does get cycled back through to the lead. Valentino does go back out of pit road, and by the looks of that, he did use his faster pair. Same with the 27 of Alex Fox. Have to wait and see what Valentino's right rear looks like across this time by. He does take the faster pair. And this leaves an entire door open for many, many new winners. The only driver who is in the top 10 that has won the race is Benjamin Nelson in first. We are just at 20 laps to go. This is going to be a very close finish on fuel if we do get a green-white checker. Keeping in mind, the only other times that we have had a green-white checker finish were the previous 3 out of 4 races. The only race we didn't have a green-white checker was Talladega on June 11th, about 3 weeks ago. More often than not, the race has gone to at least 1 green-white checker. Green flag flies with 19 laps to go at the line. Everyone is good on fuel, save for 3 drivers. Brandon Hoff in the 9, the 48 of Quinn Gingrich, and the 88 of Clint Spillman. They are not able to make it on fuel. They are 24 laps, 23 and 23 respectively. Brandon Hoff 24 laps on his current run. 23 laps for Quinn Gingrich and Clint Spillman. Everyone else is able to make it to the end. Sean Stevens, the only retirement out of 22 drivers in total. 21 currently still run, 19 of which are on the lead lap. The inside lane being led by the 33 of Benjamin Nelson. Luke Parks in the 3, pushing him. Up on the outside lane, it is Dustin Schwingle in that number 7 machine, who slides up the racetrack by quite a lot into the outside wall, 3 wide as they go through turn 4. That's not going to work out as they are nearly door to door between the 25 and the 7. Somehow, everyone sorts themselves out, and the outside lane has barely dropped off. Well, it has, of course, by about a car length after that. And now it's only 3 drivers up on the outside. Lyons making a daring move up to the outside lane. In fact, where did Lyons come from out of nowhere? He's been sitting, as far as we know, at least about around the top 10, judging by his starting position. Lyons in line for a win. Of course, it's 17 laps to go, 16 and a half when we cross through to the back straightaway. But my oh my, what names we have up here. In fact, the 02 of Alan Balacchino is within this battle as well. Granted, quite a ways back, but in the end, he could be in this battle for the lead. Anyone in the top 10, anyone on the lead lap, essentially, is in line for the win. And that all depends on what's going to be happening next, as Lyons is all over the back bumper, trying to figure out a way by Benjamin Nelson. Benjamin Nelson just holding his own on that inside lane. So many times we've seen Lyons up in the top 3, I believe. Unfortunately, it just never was the case for him to finish up in the top 3. Could this race be the game changer for that 97? There's Luke Parks in the number 3. There's the 25 of Kyle Manger. Lyons all over the back bumper continuously of that 33 machine. All over the inside lane, all over the outside lane of the drivers up on the top side. It's almost quite impossible to really hold the car incredibly straight, especially with these bumps playing a factor. Nelson moving around a little bit as well, leaving about 2 feet on the inside. The field coming up now to lap traffic in the form of the 88 of Clint Spillman. The speed difference is absolutely drastic, and how far Clint Spillman has quite literally fallen in the standings. 170 miles an hour versus the entire field of about 180. 185 now. Reaching to about 190 on the back straightaway. And there's the gap between Clint Spillman and the rest of the field. We're going to be sticking with the focus on the 88 as the lead group comes through. This could be actually really good on the back straightaway. Does Spillman go to the apron? He does. Actually, he'll move down to the inside lane, now down to the apron. Trying to stay as much on track as possible so he knows he can at least make it through the corner, but with the field coming through, that might not be the case. Everyone giving him some space. Spillman able to make it through. Everyone makes it through, no issues. Oh, Lyons almost makes contact with Parks, and in the back they do. The 3 gets a little bit of a bobble, actually. The 46 made contact with the 25. They're 3 wide as the 3 of Parks falls back on the outside. How rare we have seen 3 wide at this track, and for good reason. But the track surface wasn't enough. I don't know what it is as Parks gets into the outside wall and entering turn number 1. Spillman slips his way by as well. Now Robbie Lyons up on the outside lane. He could try and challenge for the lead with some help from the 25 of Kyle Manger. I believe actually it would be pronounced Kyle Manger. But regardless, that 25 is running in the top 10 regardless. Oh, Lyons comes very close to getting into Dane Cruz. Turn 4 has been a problem spot for almost everybody. Whether it be the outside or the inside, everyone is driving incredibly hard. Brendan Hoff in line to get put 1 lap down. And how far Brendan Hoff has fallen. We saw him running in the top 4 consistently early on in the first half of this race before the first caution came out. Look at Lyons using the 9 almost as a pick, at least as a draft pick. Will that work as they go down the back straightaway? Lyons moves down to the inside, cuts off the nose of the 33 of Nelson. Now 25 is in line for this race lead. Keeping in mind, some drivers have not used their fast repairs, and that's relatively everybody here. Save for a couple drivers, most likely. The O2 of Balacino being one of them. He's lurking 4th place in the outside lane if anything does happen, and if he somehow makes it through. 11 laps to go as Robbie Lyons leads. Off turn number 2, Benjamin Nelson all over his back bumper now. In a way, returning the favor. The 33 of Nelson could make it 3 wide. He could actually move and try for the lead if he wanted to, but it's not going to work out. I'm not sure what Lyons was doing, unfortunately. Maybe too focused on the mirror, but maybe he's trying to figure out an easier way for Nelson to get his engine cooled down. But regardless, they hang on to the lead as there's contact behind. Cruises around. Almost. No, they save it. They're 4 wide, including the 46 on the apron. It's not going to work out as the 7 as well falls back. 3 wide. Somehow everyone makes it by. That's going to be on repeat for sure. That's a repeat sentence throughout this entire race. Just somehow. It's a repeat word as well. Somehow. But that's a testament to how well these drivers are driving this track right now. Nelson moves up to the outside lane now that he's clear. He's got help from the 25 of Manger. Fox in line. He's now going to be pushing the 97 down the back straightaway on the inside. Nelson moves back to the inside. Fox all over. Actually, no, Lyons all over the back bumper, sorry, of Benjamin Nelson. Robert Rader from out of nowhere, pushing the 25. 25 leads that time by the line. 4 different drivers 3 different drivers, correction, had won. Could it be a 4th, or will it be a repeat? Will it be Benjamin Nelson adding his name once again to the list of winners? Or will it be anybody else within the rest of this field? Save for, of course, Lucas Cram back in 12th place. Getting here a little bit of a group of his own with Sean Howell and Raymond Lees. Lyons, unfortunately, sideways on the apron. Can he hold on to it? He does. Not just yet. Now he does. Great save by Robbie Lyons. Unfortunately, got too much onto the apron. He can't get back up onto the track now. Now he can. Now he's got an opening. The 43 and 46 make huge contact down to the inside lane. Caution is coming out. The caution is out with Kyle Manger in the lead. And we're going to be setting up for a shootout. Not a green-white checker shootout per se, but it's going to be a shootout regardless. The 4th caution of the day. Rewinding back between, well, pretty much anything and everything that happened that lap. We're going to be starting off with the 97 of Robbie Lyons, and then we'll be looking at Dane Cruz and Kyle Dager's contact. Keeping an eye on the 97 of Lyons. Second car on the inside. Gets a piece of the apron. Gets a little bit of a bump from the 27. And because Nelson had no help, he had fallen back. We'll take a look at the pass for the lead in a couple of moments. 46 and 43 up on the outside lane. They make contact and into the inside lane they go. Hard shot for both drivers. And that's when the caution had come out. But the pass for the lead by the number 25, and it looks to be the number 2. We'll ride on board the 2 of Robert Rader. This is after Lyons had spun out. Still going, still going, still going. The caution is not out yet. Still not out yet. The 2 is ahead. And right about here, there it is. You saw it just barely saw the light come on. The caution was out. A great job by both the top 2 drivers of Rager and Manger to get into the lead. And now this is a key point of the race where you wonder how much fuel does everyone have left. Well, enough to make it to at least lap 25. 25 laps on their run if needed, but they can use this to extend the lead. Or their fuel, I should say. But do the lights on the pace car shut off this time by or next time by? 14 drivers on the lead lap as of right now. Lights will shut. Actually, no, they'll remain on this time by. This is the first complete lap. So at this time, we're going to be taking a quick commercial break. Under caution, we'll be back with 1 lap to go. But this is going to be a very interesting finish. At the moment, it looks to be a 4-lap shootout when we get the green. We'll be right back here at Daytona. This is the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series with the CSM 200 at Daytona 2008. The race is not over yet, but it's definitely closing in to the finishing point. Kyle Manger leads on the restart.
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson. Unbelievable finish. It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Aloma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett low. 4 wide at the stripe. For Audie's win here on this outside line. Neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out?
Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway with the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. This is the CSM 200 at Daytona, and we're coming now to the final, what will be, but will it stay, 4 laps of this race. Will it stay? Will the final couple laps be extended, I should say, into the final portion of this race? Will we get a green-white checker, or will this be the finish of the race? Green flag flies. It is 4 laps to go at Daytona, and everyone is pushing for the race lead. Quite literally, Benjamin Nelson, with 4 laps to go, looks to be another driver adding his name to the list of winners once again, at least for the 2nd time this season. Oh, Raiders around in the field. It's going to be the big one as we enter turn 1. Everyone's involved. It's the field. Incredible crash here. And that is going to be the green-white checker finish we were wondering. The big one quite literally strikes on the first restart attempt. Not even the first restart attempt, but rather the first of what we could have had. The race for sure going into a green-white checker situation. Raider got turned in the middle of the field, unfortunately, when he tried to go down to the inside lane. It was too quick of a move, and that was pretty much the deal breaker. The 2 of Raider moves down to the inside, trying to get by Luke Parks, and unfortunately he stops himself, and that involves basically everybody. The drivers who really weren't involved, Dustin Schwingle, who somehow managed to make it to slow it up on the outside lane, but that's definitely a majority of the field involved. Riding on board the number 7 machine who got through this. A little bit of contact, but he didn't make it through it entirely. Sean Howell up on 2 wheels, having a very wild ride. And, oh man, well, luckily not adding any more damage than already was Schwingle, but unfortunately, that was just the worst luck that Schwingle could have had up there on the top side. So, now for sure, drivers are saving fuel. Kyle Manger's still out front. Pretty much anybody in the top 6 has a shot at winning. Maybe even top 7. Dane Cruz, actually, in the 46, well, he could have had a shot, but he was involved. Lyons as well going into pit road. The field continuing to be shuffled here at Daytona as we are fully under caution once again. And the sun starts to set here at the Daytona International Speedway. Cal Manger is out front, with Benjamin Nelson 2nd, Luke Parks in 3rd, 4th Mitchell Numa, 5th Alex Fox, 6th being Nick Olson, 7th is actually Lucas Cram at the start-finish line. Well, it's Robbie Lyons, but Sean Howell currently sits in the 7th place position. Rather, that's more at the start-finish line rather than real time. But it's Raymond Lees, Robert Rader, Lucas Cram still actually sitting in pit road. Maybe getting some damage repaired. We'll see if we can get a different angle on that number 44. Fortunately, does not seem to be the case. Dustin Schwingle out front. Lucas Cram has been sitting in pit road for a good 40 seconds now. And, well, Cram had already used up one of his faster pairs. Robbie Lyons also had used up one of his faster pairs from an earlier crash. And you see the back end completely, entirely damaged for sure. So now we start to wonder, how many attempts does it take to finish a race at the 2008 version of Daytona? We've only had one green-white checker used in the entirety of, well, throughout the season, if need be. We've never gone to 2 green-white checkers. Coming to the start-finish line, expecting the lights to shut off on the pace car. 22 drivers came into this race. 2 have completely retired. And the other 20 are currently on the track still. Alan Baldacchino currently sits P17, but look for that to be shuffled a little bit lower throughout if this does extend further. But regardless, this is going to be a very, very entertaining finish. Well, send in predictions while you still can. You do have 3 chances to send in your predictions if you do. Well, 2 other chances, but judging by the past history that we've had with green-white checkers and Daytona, you've only made it to 84 laps at most. And right now it's scheduled to end at lap 82 if need be. Never once have we gone a full 200, well, never once have we gone a complete 200 miles. We have always gone over either 210 or 207.5. And right now, the race is looking to go a 205 distance, 205 miles. Kyle Manger will be leading the field to the green flag as the clouds cover once again. You have to think how much of that will play into effect. Pace car pulls off. Green flag flies. It's a 2-lap shootout. The first of 3 green-white checker attempts being used as Luke Parks does not get going entirely off the start. Parks does have help behind him from Alex Fox, although on the outside lane, however, Benjamin Nelson getting a huge shove from the 07 of Mitchell Muma, who has a lot of back-end damage. Could be playing into heavy effect with the arrow. You see there the damage. Already just by damage versus no damage alone, the inside lane does have the advantage, at least in terms of aerodynamics. But Nick Olson is absolutely shoving that 07. The outside lane breaks up just ever so slightly as they come through turns 3 and 4. Sliding up the track ever so slightly. Parks tries to dive down low on the apron. It's not going to work out. This time by, it's the white flag. That means the race is for sure official. The outside lane will be led by Benjamin Nelson. White flag this time by, near contact between the 07 and 25. And those lanes are completely split up. Does Nelson dare to make a move to the inside? Does Mitchell Muma have anything? Does the 24 of Olsen have anything? The inside lane is going to have to be incredibly smooth. Olsen makes it 3 wide for second place as Nelson protects the inside. Drops down to the inside in front of 25 as they crash behind. Huge crash behind. Does the 25 have room? He does. He goes up to the top side. Side-by-side battle. Contact made. The 33. Here comes the 3 of Parks behind. They make contact as they almost crash behind. For the second time this season, it is Benjamin Nelson winning. So close yet so far for Kyle Manger. Luke Parks finishes third, a hard shot to the inside by Robbie Lyons. But it's Benjamin Nelson, your race winner for the second time this season in that number 33 machine. What a finish that was. And what a race. Benjamin Nelson victorious once again at Daytona. There's the 25 of Manger. Finishing in second place. But a great job regardless by Benjamin Nelson. Second win this season at Daytona as Nelson burns it down. It came 2 weeks ago at the Daytona under the lights, and now it comes at the 2008 Daytona. Nelson able to survive and conquer Daytona once again for the second time this season. And yet we still have yet to have a fourth different winner. $10 as well going to Benjamin Nelson this week from the sponsor. And rightfully so, he does burn it down here at Daytona. Taking a look at your finishing results for this race afterwards. And it is Benjamin Nelson, of course, with the win just by about a car length between himself and Kyle Manger coming to the start-finish line. Luke Parks finishing in the third place position in the number 3. Alex Fox rounds out the fourth place position. Robert Rader finishes off in fifth place, with Dustin Schwingle finishing in sixth. Nick Olsen 7th. Mitchell Muma 8th. Ninth place is Lucas Cram, and then 10th place is Dane Cruz, most likely involved in that crash in turns 3 and 4. Robbie Lyons finishes in 11th. Joey Picuella 12th, 13th place was Sean Howell, and Raymond Lees somehow, some way finishes on the lead lap. The last driver to finish on the lead lap in 14th. Clint Spillman and Brendan Hoff finish 15th and 16th, one lap down. Quinn Gingrich finishes 17th. 18th place is Colby Wells. Alan Ballacino had retired early on. He does manage to finish 19th, however, with Brett Murphy finishing in 20th, who was still running. And then we go to Kyle Dager, who finishes 21st, and Sean Stevens finishing 22nd, who had retired incredibly early on in this race. And what a race it was. We'll actually move on to your post-race interviews as soon as possible. Until then, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. This is the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series. Your post-race interviews coming up next for the CSM 200 at Daytona 2008. And we are back live here at the Daytona Superspeedway. And, well, once again, what a finish it was for the CSM 200 at Daytona 2008. An absolutely incredible finish as well, and an incredible race all around. Just momentarily, we are going to get a word in with your race winner, and that being Benjamin Nelson for the second time this season. Benjamin, congratulations, and what a finish that was.
for the congrats. Like, that was honestly one of the craziest races throughout that I've ever been in. This track is just incredible to race at. You really have to manhandle the car. You can never relax. It's amazing to race here.
It absolutely is amazing to race here, at least in some cases. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, like having to absolutely just wheel the car left, right, and center, almost quite literally throughout these corners. But you did make it through to the end, and you come home second, well, first place, I should say, for the second time this season, again at Daytona. But just an absolutely amazing race, just all around. What are your thoughts heading into Talladega for next week's race?
I'll rack them up and do it again. That's really the way I look at it. Talladega is quite different than this, though. It's a lot smoother, way wider, so you can pretty comfortably go three wide. But especially on the '08 configuration like this, it's just three wide's just a death sentence for the most part. So it's sort of gridlocked for a while until people actually start pushing. Then you can kind of make moves when you're up near the front. But Talladega's not going to be like that. So um, it's really all just a chess match at Talladega. It's not so much about driving the car as it is here. It's really just like the decisions you make. But I mean, I'm really glad that I was able to pull that block off turn four too. I thought it was a little risky. I was about to get hooked there, but um, it worked out.
And luckily, it did work out in the end, and it is just incredible to see that happen, especially here at Daytona, especially 2008 configuration. Again, it is a wonderful track and a little bit of a challenge as well. Throw a little bit of a wrench in the mix. But before we go ahead and let you go, well, you've heard this before, of course, but who would you like to give a shout out to for your race win here once again?
Definitely, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that puts this league on, Lucas Cram, all the admins, just anybody that's ever contributed to it. It's so much fun to participate in something like this. I say it like every time I get an interview because it means a lot to me that we have people that put in the work to do this, to the grind to do the points and set up the broadcast. Like, and I'd like to thank you for broadcasting it as well. It makes it a lot more fun to go back and watch just all the chaos that happens throughout the race. Um, it's a lot of infrastructure that I think some people take for granted sometimes, and I'd like to make sure that you guys know that I appreciate it.
Definitely thanks for that, and thanks for your time as well for having an interview. And we hope to talk to you again next week at Talladega.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
So that is race winner Benjamin Nelson. We'll see if it is at all possible to get both second and third place, both being Kyle Manger and Luke Parks. And we'll see if we can get the 25. Kyle Manger, do you have us?
Hey, how you doing?
Well, you almost had your up front as well, but regardless, put off a incredible finish, almost as well, but just by about a just by undercar length, I believe. But throughout that entire race, what are your thoughts heading into well this race and the final lap?
Yeah, I had a good time tonight. The cars were tough to drive, and I enjoyed sliding around. So, um, it's a good finish. A little bittersweet. Wanted to come home with that win. Um, Ben made a good block there at the end, and uh, just didn't have the push I needed. We got a little squirrely up top, but overall, got some stage points, got a good finish. So just trying to make up some points here and see if I can sneak my way in to the playoffs. So we'll take runs like tonight.
Hopefully that will be the case. But in the meantime, well, heading into Talladega for next week, you had your fair share of running up front as well and mid pack throughout Talladega. What are your thoughts?
Um, every race you do here, you trust the drivers. It's been a lot of fun racing with all these guys. So don't expect anything to be too much different from what we've seen the last few weeks here.
Before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to or thank for your second place finish?
Just gotta thank all the guys in Grimlock's channel. It's Joey's birthday, it's happy birthday to him. Um, thanks to you guys for broadcasting. And yeah, have a good happy 4th of July. We'll see you next week.
Congratulations on your second place finish. That was the 25 of Kyle Manger, and we're going to move on to somebody who basically pulled an Eric Almirola this week, is Luke Parks in number 3, because, well, not only did he finish sideways, but so did you, Luke. So regardless of that, you did manage to come home with that third place finish.
Honestly, I'm not really sure how I got that third place. I was just trying to push Kyle, and Kyle ended up moving up. And I was going to try to hopefully get a run on the bottom, and I saw Ben was blocking Kyle pretty hard. Thought they might wreck, and once Ben come down in front of me, I just decided I was just going to push him to the win, and next thing I know, I'm sideways coming across the line, and just, it just so happened that I got third.
And looking at back in slow motion right now, actually, a little bit of a tag from the 27. Didn't quite catch it live, but yeah, quite literally in a Eric Almirola fashion, finishing with the right rear across the start-finish line, almost an exact carbon copy, just a different track. But what a race this was overall, especially with that green flag, almost the longest green flag run, I believe, actually, throughout the first half of this race that we've had at Daytona. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what it is about this old Daytona track, but we, for whatever reason, usually manage to run pretty clean most of the time. It was a little different because we had to pit, I think, one more time than usual. So, I mean, I was just trying to pretty much buy my time, just stay in line, not cause any incidents, and just try to be there at the end with a fast repair if a wreck happened. And I just so happened to avoid everything. So, I mean, it was a good race. I haven't raced well this season, so it's nice to be able to get a top 5 out of this.
Especially a top 3 by the end of a very wild last lap, as if it wasn't wild enough with the abrasive and bumpy track surface. But before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your finish here in third place today?
Well, I'm gonna give a shout out to one of my fellow competitors, Alan Ballacino. I was with that man towards the end of the race. A bunch of wrecks almost happened, and I stayed with him, and he helped me out, helped me get through the wrecks, and I just appreciate that. So yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations once again on your sideways third place finish.
Appreciate it.
Luke Parks finishing in third place in style by the end of that, but so did Benjamin Nelson by the end of this race. And once again, just what a incredible race this was. It was an absolute blast, especially with, well, that 34, I believe, green flag run for the first half of this race. Somehow everyone manages to make it, well, most people manage to make it to the end, save for about a couple drivers. But aside from that, a incredible race and absolutely very, very entertaining by the end of this. So looking ahead for Talladega Superspeedway heading into next week. And that is going to be a race to look out for as well by the end of that, as we head back to the Talladega Superspeedway for another 75 laps, or a 199.5 mile race, but of course rounded to 200 just for the simplicity. Congratulations to Benjamin Nelson on his second race win this season, and a incredible job to everyone. Stay safe for this Independence Day weekend, and we hope to see you next time at Talladega. Good night from Daytona, and congratulations to Benjamin Nelson.